How's it going, everyone? It's Sam. There is a big move coming that I want to talk about, but there are some caveats to that. I think there's a big move coming for cryptocurrency and Bitcoin specifically, but we have to pay attention because I think a lot of people are maybe not overly bullish long term, but they think that as soon as the spot ETF gets approved, we're going to explode, which I think we will move up, but it might be a little bit less obvious, and that might be a little bit more nuanced. So if you don't mind, hit subscribe, turn on that bell notification. I'm not trying to be bearish or anything like that. I'm very bullish over the long term, but I want to give you all the information you need to make wise decisions. Now, while you're down there, hit subscribe and that bell notification. If you don't mind, hit the like button and check out the link to Bag Tracker AI. This is a website that I'm making with just a few other people, just two other people, to be able to track all your crypto assets. We've had such a good response to this. I think we have around 300 people signed up already. This is in a bear market, so this is fantastic. But eventually we will probably have to cap it and just take a couple hundred, maybe 300, 400, 500 into the beta, which we're gonna track crypto, stocks, cash, everything in one place and be able to denominate your assets in your whole net worth in cryptocurrency. So if you want access to that, check out that link underneath the video, hit pre-register, put in your name, email, and description for what you want to see tracked and how, any features you might want. And let's get into the video. As you can see, Bitcoin's moving up a little bit here today, 0.64%. Most of this is just due to the fact that we did not have the SEC appeal the grayscale judge decision. Now, a lot of people are very excited about that. We'll talk about that. But we saw a little bit of a jump around 27,000 and a little bit of a pullback. As you can see, the whole market is up about 0.46% today. A lot of big cryptos up. Solana's up 2.7%. So overall, a pretty good day in the market. VIX is up significantly over the last month. We've seen a 50% increase. This is actually quite low, this $12 or $13 VIX. You can see here pretty much pretty far low. 1 year low for what we've seen in volatility. And over the last couple of days, we saw quite a big increase. Just Friday alone, we saw a 16% increase, largely due, I think, to the Hamas-Israel situation. Now, Bitcoin itself is still breaking out a little bit to the upside. As you can see here, we dipped to about 25,000 or so just a few weeks ago. Now we're up to 27,000, and we have, on a much larger scale, we have an uptrend moving up from 15.5 all the way up to 27 basically. And it seems like in the next couple of weeks we should have a pretty large move, about 14 to 21 days according to Crypto Rover. And there's a lot of interesting things happening right now. Obviously, we have MicroStrategy that's been just consistently buying, but now we have BlackRock and a lot of big institutions that are looking to get investors in this kind of interesting representation. There are Bitcoin whales and there are whales. And BlackRock obviously is a lot bigger than MicroStrategy. Keep in mind though, MicroStrategy, $4.62 billion in market cap. BlackRock, bigger than that, but they're showing the assets under management. Obviously, if they can get a lot of their assets under management to buy Bitcoin, that's going to force the price up. I actually had a really good conversation with someone last night who was the CEO of a large company, now retired, but still serves in a variety of different boards, and they're actually in the energy industry. And we talked about the economy, talked about yields, and he gave a lot of the same information and a lot of the same insight that I actually have. He thinks the economy could be pretty rough, but largely he just thinks that there are pretty great situations for people that have a large amount of capital already for fixed income. And that does skew some people to want to invest in that, but he is still invested largely into stocks. He has more stocks than anything else in his portfolio, and he wants to buy assets that actually do something. So he's not trying to go out and buy gold. He does think that the Fed probably will print, which is just a really interesting conversation to have with someone in Italy, someone random that was at the table beside us, talking about the economy, someone that's pretty well connected and pretty wealthy as well. So very cool to talk with him and get a handle for his view on the situation as someone that's nearly 50 years older than I am. Now, Ferrari is accepting Bitcoin and crypto payments for their cars. I talked about how Tesla is actually accepting crypto payments specifically for stocks. Some extra revenue for them. Obviously not their main source of revenue, probably only making, I don't know, tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of dollars from it. But now Ferrari is accepting Bitcoin and crypto. Maybe Tesla will do that as well. Obviously could help the next bull run, especially if they're willing to allocate a little bit more towards crypto. Now, as we said, SEC has decided not to appeal Grayscale's court win regarding its conversion to a spot Bitcoin ETF. This is a massive decision for multiple reasons, as Cryptozoara says. The next steps, you have to watch for regulatory framework adjustments that may follow. The SEC may release new guidelines clarifying the legal status of Bitcoin and crypto ETFs. 2, reactions from other crypto managers and institutional investors. Will they also move towards launching or converting existing crypto products into crypto ETFs? And market sentiment. This could be a bullish signal for Bitcoin and the broader crypto market. Now, I think we've already seen some of that bullish sentiment. When we look at GBTC, the discount has been swallowed up. GBTC up 1.1% yesterday. It continues to close the gap. There's a discount now between the assets that GBTC holds. They're a large Bitcoin holder, and the cost or the overall market cap of GBTC. There's a discount of about 15.5% as of yesterday. This is closed from 48%. So people are buying GBTC because they think that GBTC will turn into a spot ETF. And something interesting, I do not remember when this happened, but a while ago they didn't have Grayscale Bitcoin Trust, BTC, in parentheses there. It was just Grayscale Bitcoin Trust. So really interesting that they added that as well. I'm curious why they did that. But overall, I think that has been a bullish signal for sure. During the last bull run, I saw so many large investors start to allocate towards crypto, and I kind of took that as a signal that Bitcoin is probably going to start moving up. And now I kind of see that as well. A lot of investors and a lot of hedge funds are obviously buying GBTC, buying some miners, and I would take that as a very bullish signal. And it just lines up with everything that's happening in the economy, between when the Fed is looking at cutting rates, between when the next Bitcoin halving is, the spot ETF is going to be approved around then. There's just so many things that obviously will be dovish around that time period. Now, I'll explain why I think you don't want to bet against crypto in a little bit. But the Bitcoin therapist says, I've never been more bullish. You wake up and all the spot Bitcoin ETFs are approved. What's the price of Bitcoin? Under 30K, 50 to 100K, 30 to 50K, or 100K plus? Honestly, I think some people are getting overly excited at Bitcoin ETF actually being approved, the spot ETF. I think we will spike up, probably significantly, but I don't think we're going to go up 20K or anything like that. Even after a week or two, I don't think we're going to move up 20K because there are some people that want to allocate towards it. And I am very bullish on crypto, but I think what is more likely to happen is there are companies that are going to start putting Bitcoin ETF, the spot Bitcoin ETF, in portfolios, in retirement accounts, in pension funds. And that's going to happen over probably months, if not years. That is what I think is going to be extremely bullish, is the long-term purchasing of Bitcoin in accounts that people don't even touch. People don't even really realize what they're allocated towards. Like when you think about a retirement portfolio where someone buys 90%, like a target date fund, 90% stocks, maybe S&P 500, then 10% bonds. And then as they get older, it allocates more towards bonds. Something like that, I think, is where it becomes really interesting for Bitcoin, because people will be buying tens of billions, if not hundreds of billions of dollars of Bitcoin every single year, and they're not going to touch it for 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 years. So I think that's when Bitcoin spikes to 100K plus, is once some of this becomes more mainstream and people start buying. That's what really changes the game for Bitcoin. Now, of course, there are going to be speculators, buyers, hedge funds that want to buy ahead of that. or see a spot Bitcoin ETF being approved and realize that that's the time to buy it, and then it will get bid up. So it could still make a big move before the long term actually happens. But I think that's a huge game changer. Once Fidelity or BlackRock or someone starts adding that to a target date fund, that is when I am giga bullish. And obviously I'm going to be bullish before then too. I'm really excited about where the market's at right now. I'm still DCAing and buying more, but I'm still looking for that to eventually happen, and that's when I will turn crazy bullish. And obviously that's probably a time where I'll think, okay, I need to take a step back, analyze the situation. What price are we at? Do I want to take profits? Because whenever everything looks exceptionally bullish, that's probably a good time to take a step back and reevaluate the situation. But I will also realize long term that is a huge turning point for cryptocurrency. Now, we talked about Bitcoin a lot. Let's talk about Ethereum. The available Ethereum on exchanges has decreased by more than 60% in the last 2 years. Everyone talks about the bearish side of Ethereum, but even though the price has kind of fallen down versus Bitcoin recently, and I think probably will continue to fall down, the Ethereum Bitcoin valuation, I'm still bullish on Ethereum long term. And you have to realize that it's becoming more and more scarce. I mean, it's been basically cut in half. The available supply been more than cut in half over the last 2 years. So pay attention to that. Now, moving on, we'll come back to crypto in a second, but we have some news that someone, a terrorist organization for Hamas, started shooting at a car. And basically, the person that was being shot at was able to get away because they were in a Tesla Model 3 Performance. That's what they attribute them getting away to. They were going up to 112 miles per hour with flat tires, basically praising Tesla for being able to get away. And I saw the video. They had tons of bullet holes all over their glass, over their hood. They shot at the hood. They weren't able to hit the engine. Obviously, they shot at the gas tank. They weren't able to hit the gas tank. We also have, obviously, about a year ago maybe, this car that went off the road in California, fell like 200, 300 feet. The kids in the back seat weren't even injured. The people in the front lived. And this is just interesting. Obviously, when stuff gets real, make sure you're in a Tesla. They seem to hold up quite well. I have a Tesla myself. They are getting extremely cheap. How cheap are they? Well, let's take a look at the 36-month lease price comparisons. Base Toyota Camry Hybrid, $438 a month. Base Honda Accord Hybrid, $334 a month. Base Tesla Model 3 rear-wheel drive, $329 a month. This is assuming a down payment and 10K annual mileage. So if you are looking at a new car, you've got to consider a Tesla. No matter what you're buying, if you're going to buy new, consider a Tesla. Even if you're buying used, depending on your state, you can buy a new Tesla for less than a new car, depending on what you're looking at. So definitely consider that. Even you can buy a Tesla for cheaper than a used car in some states. Now, MetaMask has been removed from the Apple App Store. This is obviously going to be scary to some people. They're worried about centralization. They're worried about large entities trying to make their own, maybe their own decentralized wallet. I just make sure that you don't get too bearish whenever any news comes up like this. Usually it gets blown out of proportion. They'll probably be back on the App Store in a few days. But obviously, we just have to take this in stride, realize that there's a lot of things changing in the macro landscape, and there are bound to be little setbacks like this as well. Now, this is a really interesting quote that I think we should all pay attention to. Never bet on the end of the world, because it only happens once, and even if it does, who are you going to settle the trade with? Very good point here. There are so many people that are wondering, should you sell a lot of stocks? Obviously, if you think the market's going to fall down significantly, you might feel that urge, but typically I think it's better to just dollar cost average. If you feel bearish, maybe store a little bit more cash on the sidelines. But generally, I am a buyer, whether it's crypto or whether it's stocks. I think that's a better way of approaching it long term, because typically People are most bearish when they should be buying. People are most bullish when they should be selling. And when you think it's the end of the world, you should probably be buying. At this point, with the VIX spiking up significantly, 15, 16% in a day, it's probably a good time to be buying. We had a lot of indices fall down significantly, but obviously you have to do your own research. I'm not telling you what to do. Just do your own research and make sure you feel comfortable with whatever happens and whatever approach you take. Now, thank you so much for watching. Again, check out Bag Tracker AI underneath the video. It's an app that I am making with just a few other people. I think it's going to be hugely useful for a lot of investors out there. Now, if you want to see what it's like here in Italy, I've been here for a few days. Let's see. Can't really get to focus, but it is pretty nice out there. If you've never been to Positano, I'd highly check it out. If you want to get more information or photos, videos of my time here, you can check out my Instagram, which is also underneath the video. Thank you so much. I appreciate it, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.